Look at this. The Middlesex London Health Unit has all of this charted in data graphs and accessible to the public in a way most could likely understand. Toronto Public Health even takes it a step further and compiles COVID data on race, income, and neighborhood inequities. You won't find raw data on this, or in some cases, any stats in these categories on the health unit's website in Windsor, Essex. We repeatedly reached out to the Windsor Essex County Health Unit to find out why, but have not had a response to our questions. But the lack of data has one Kingsville town councillor and small business owner demanding more data.
In the ICU, is it COVID and only COVID alone that they have, or do they have other ailments and they happen to have COVID? I think that the full truth needs to come out on all of the issues and not just, a little bit of data. Again, I don't know if we're getting the entire whole story. Watching what I've seen over the course of 20 months and watching different people at different ages at a level of fear, when for 20 months we have seen that fear is taken over, stress and anxiety is taken over, mental health is taken over.
Now, this week, the Windsor-Essex County Health Unit did provide more information during a media briefing about COVID deaths in our region. Since August, 42 people died who had COVID-19. 30 of those people were unvaccinated, and the 12 who did get the vaccine had underlying health conditions. Cancer and stroke were given as examples. But this type of detailed information isn't released here on a regular basis or tracked online here for the public to see.
Now, Jason, you spoke with an epidemiologist about all this. What's his take?
Well, he says more data could be useful, but there are also instances when it may be confusing if it's not presented in the right context. That could lead people to draw the wrong conclusion. Most people pay attention to basic data that's released around COVID cases, hospitalizations, and the trends around those two stats. But there are some people who want more.
He could release just all the raw data. It would, I think, be overwhelming for most people to try to interpret in a rational way. So we have to strike that balance. It's certainly, the data shouldn't be secret. It should be available. And most of this data is, whether it's posted on our website or available through an FOI request. But some pieces of information are not that relevant. And so we have to be careful, not just about underreporting, but about overreporting, because at a certain point, when you give people too much information, it becomes white noise. And so we have to highlight what's important and what's critical for better understanding the situation. I think there are a small number of people that really like to get into the details. And certainly if they can't answer that specific question, it does breed a little bit of mistrust.
He also says it would be good to have more consistency when presenting COVID-19 data, not just at the local level across different regions, but provincially and federally as well, he says. As for Gaffin, the Kingsville councillor who wants to see more COVID data locally, he plans to bring this up during Monday's council meeting. Thanks for this, Jason. CBC's Jason Veal live in studio tonight. And in today's briefing, the health unit detailed the latest impact of COVID-19 on the community. One more person has died, a man in his 50s, and 98 new cases added today. That brings the current number of active cases to 572. New restrictions announced last weekend also come into effect today. It limits bars and restaurants to 50% capacity, and indoor social gatherings are now limited to 10. Outdoor gatherings to 25. According to the province's top doctor, Omicron could become the dominant strain of COVID in Ontario within weeks. So today, officials took steps to tighten the rules around vaccine passports and expand eligibility for vaccine boosters. Lisa Shing has the details.
We can expect that the months ahead may be very challenging. The actions we take today will help ensure that our communities stay safe this winter.
As Ontario records 1,453 new cases, a number that's been increasing, officials announced a worrying trend in the spread of the Omicron variant.
It's anticipated that we'll have a significant rise in the coming weeks and in the next month, and that it may become a dominant strain very soon.
That That could be as early as January, since Ontario's medical officer of health says it could represent 20% of all COVID-19 cases in the coming days. So the province is making several changes. It's extending its vaccine passport program indefinitely and will require all vaccination certificates to include QR codes as of January 4th. Young people ages 12 to 17 in organized sports at rec centers will have to show proof of vaccination too. And businesses will no longer be able to accept doctor's notes for medical exemptions. That will be done through a QR code as well. But this doctor doesn't think these changes will do much.
The modeling really does suggest that we are heading into a fifth wave that could surpass what we saw in the fourth wave. You're trying to stop a bit of like a leakiness in the system there. I don't think that's going to make a huge impact on transmission.
What might? While Ontario isn't cracking down, it's suggesting people should limit social gatherings through the holidays.
I know many already had plans for social gatherings. We're asking to be prudent, to be cautious, to be moderate.
Those 18 and older will be eligible for their booster shots in the new year. People 50 and up will be able to make appointments for theirs starting Monday, and doctors are urging everyone to get them. Lisa Shing, CBC News, Toronto.
Meanwhile, we're also seeing yet another upward trend in COVID-19 cases Canada-wide. New modeling from the Public Health Agency of Canada predicts we could see a surge in the coming weeks. The country is grappling with another wave of the Delta strain and still gauging the effects of the new Omicron variant. CBC's Ashley Burke reports on what it could mean for your holiday plans.
You just got it? Oh, excellent.
Ahead of the holidays, the Prime Minister once again encouraging vaccination against COVID-19.
It means you get to be safer, and it means you get to keep everyone you love safer.
This time in the youngest age group, as Canada tries to contain the new Omicron variant. More than 80 confirmed cases so far.
I'm just urging extreme vigilance and caution because the Omicron variant could take over pretty fast.
New modeling today shows if the new variant takes a foothold, cases could quadruple in Canada next month.
There have been super spreading events with the Omicron variant from other countries.
Super spreading caused by large gatherings. Now Canadian health officials urging to keep your holiday gatherings small and only with vaccinated friends and family. Dr. New personally recommending 10 people or less.
I plan to also use ventilation to the max and have the windows open for a certain period of time, maybe on the hour, to also improve the circulation of air. So that's maybe a bit of a warning to my family members who are coming over.
A message echoed in the most populous province where cases are surging.
We do not want this holiday season to become a super spreading event.
As for travel, the government is urging people to stay in Canada.
Omicron should be a big red part of the radar screen. It should be flashing because things are happening very quickly outside of Canada.
The government isn't changing its travel advisories yet, but officials said that could change quickly.
The situation abroad is both risky and unstable. They should also know that returning to Canada will likely involve delays and hassle.
Despite all of that, Dr. Tam is urging the public not to panic about Omicron. She says that travelers coming into Canada with it are either asymptomatic or have mild symptoms so far, but does say that an increase in case counts could impact hospitals and ICUs. Ashley Burke, CBC News, Ottawa.
The cross-border spat over the future of the North American auto industry just deepened. Canada is threatening to slap tariffs on the U.S. if it moves ahead with its proposed electric vehicle tax credit. Canadian officials have sent a letter to high-ranking members of the U.S. Congress. At issue here is a plan from President Joe Biden to subsidize made-in-America electric vehicles. With the help of a tax credit on those homemade EVs, Canada, in the letter, calls the proposal, which is before the U.S. Congress, discriminatory. It likens it to America imposing a 34% tariff on Canadian-assembled electric vehicles, which, if that happened, the letter suggests it could decimate what's left of the Canadian auto industry, leaving Canada with no choice, the letter ends, but to impose retaliatory tariffs on American vehicles, car parts, and other sectors of the U.S. economy. It also threatens to void bits of the new USMCA, the free trade agreement between Canada, Mexico, and the United States. The Mexican consulate in Leamington is reacting to findings that the federal government did not do enough to keep temporary foreign workers in the agri-food sector safe. A number of issues were outlined in yesterday's Federal Auditor General report, like employees complaining about lack of food while in isolation and not having adequate space to physically distance. The consul says there's more learning and growth that needs to happen to address some of these problems.
I think that by having, again, exercises like the ones that we saw today, in which there is an evaluation and a very clear pointing out of things that need to be addressed in as quickly and as urgently as possible, is the first step. And for us to then just continue to follow up to make sure that on our responsibility, which is to connect directly with people from our community, to have that feedback. And whenever we see situations that are not following the regulations that are stipulated in terms of safety protection, health protection, or otherwise, for us to reach out, as we've done in those situations, to the authorities that are the ones that now have to get involved and to make sure that those things are addressed.
Longtime NDP MPP for Essex says he is stepping away from provincial politics. Taras Nadashak won't be seeking re-election in 2022. He's been doing the job for a decade. He was first elected in 2011. In a statement, Nadashak says, "This choice is bittersweet. I fully believe Andrea Horwath will be elected premier in 2022. It was incredibly difficult to choose not to be a member of her caucus as we form a government that's in it for everyday people." And he adds, after splitting his time between Essex and Toronto for years, it's time for him to be with his family full time. Dozens of students at St. Andre French Immersion Catholic School in Tecumseh packed 3 buses full of toys, clothes, and food for those in need this Christmas. It was the annual Santa Bus event sponsored by the Catholic Board. The donations were then taken to the Children's Aid Society and the Sandwich Teen Action Group. Dale Molnar was on hand and has this report.
Even though the weather made it feel more like spring, it sure didn't dampen the Christmas spirit of the kids here at St. Andre's French Immersion Catholic School as they enthusiastically stuffed the bus with donations.
Oh, look at all the gifts. All right. This one here is heavy.
The Santa school bus, the way that we do this with all of our families, assisting other families of need, is something to celebrate for the joyous Christmas season.
I'm just really excited to see our entire school bring in all of this stuff to donate to the causes, and I'm really excited.
This is absolutely fantastic. You know what this is? This is kids giving back to kids, and to see the generosity that has come out, especially during these difficult times, it's really heartwarming at this time of year.
Food went to the Sandwich Teen Action Group in the West End to be distributed to neighborhood families. The toys and clothes went to the Children's Aid Society.
What does that mean for the community?
Man, it's huge. Like with this pandemic, it's carrying on. There's a lot of people in the community in need. So, this is, once again, Windsor showing up for, to help out some less fortunate in the community or just people in need just because of what's going on over the past couple of years.
How are you going to use all this stuff?
Well, we support over 800 families at Christmas through our holiday program, and with all kinds of items, household items, personal goods, gift cards for a holiday meal.
This was the 7th annual event with 9 area Catholic schools participating, making this holiday season much brighter for hundreds of people. Dale Molnar, CBC News, Tecumseh.
Let's take a look outside. Now, that weather statement that we told you about yesterday, it's still in effect. Plus, we also have a wind warning happening right now. So we're going to have strong winds, heavy rain tonight, and it is going to continue into tomorrow. Colette Kennedy will be here right after the break, and she will have all the details for you. Colette Kennedy joins us now for a look at our weather forecast. Colette, special weather statement still in effect, plus a wind warning right now. What's going on?
Yeah, so a lot of things that we're dealing with, especially over these next 24 hours. And here's kind of the setup just to show you. Record-setting heat possibly coming our way. We'll be close to a record tomorrow, but they're seeing it in the southeastern U.S. and then a sharp cold front where the colder air is. So back there is where there are winter storm warnings and watches, and out ahead of it, even some severe weather. This entire area here, and you're seeing towards Illinois as well, that's where they have tornado watches in place for some of these storms. Now, we have the risk of some embedded thunderstorms coming in overnight tonight. I don't anticipate those being severe, but what is more of a concern are, first of all, rainfall warnings, not into Windsor. We have the special weather statement, but very close by. And I do even think in Windsor we could be seeing 25, 30 millimeters of rainfall. Then the wind warning, first from the southwest, 60 to 70 kilometers an hour, so strong, especially overnight into tomorrow morning, and then through the day tomorrow as they turn to the west to northwest. So at times we could even be getting into a situation with some power outages. Certainly if you put on any kind of holiday decorations or lights or just anything like that, you really want to make sure those are secured, okay? So where's the rain right now? Still back to the west of us, so we've got another hour or two yet before it works its way in. Most of it, and at times heavy, again, locally some heavier amounts with those thunderstorms too, will fall though in the overnight hours. A little lingers tomorrow. We get a few sunny breaks and we're still in the warm sector. So there'll be a little window where you might actually be able to enjoy the warmth and some sun, even though it's going to be breezy. But then the winds get so strong and we get on the backside of that, colder air pushes in and even some flurries coming our way. So the rainfall amounts, I'm showing 20 millimeters here, but like I say, there could be some pockets close by that get closer to that 30 millimeters. Check out some of the wind gusts coming in off the lake too for the shoreline. That's never a good thing. Chatham-Kent there, over 80 kilometers an hour. And even into Sunday, over here towards Hamilton, Grey Cup, it'll be much better, the weather, but still just a little bit breezy. The temperature rising overnight tonight, headed to 15, and then falling late in the day once the cold front goes through. And then once we get beyond that, we're actually going to be treated to some very mild and decent weather for mid-December, Katerina.
Yeah, Colette, I can't believe these double digits that I'm seeing. It's December. And we had a pack earlier where Dale was like, it's springtime weather.
Yeah, I mean, this is, like I said, we're going to be tying, at least probably tying or perhaps getting a new record there.
Oh my gosh. Well, thanks for this, Colette.
You're welcome.
When we come back, we're going to take a walk down memory lane, soaking up the nostalgia as we remember what Windsor's downtown core used to look like. Stay with us.
Hi, I'm Dave Cassidy, President of Unifor Local 444. 'Tis the season to give. That's where CBC's Sounds of the Season charity food drive comes in. For more information, visit cbc.ca/Windsor.
Sad news from the world of entertainment. The singer, songwriter, and guitarist from the Monkees, Michael Nesmith, has died at the age of 78.
Take the last train to Pottsville and I'll meet you at the station.
Nesmith shot to fame as the quiet, wool cap-wearing member of the 60s pop group. The quartet, created for a TV show, exploded with hit after hit, at one point even rivaling the Beatles. After the group broke up, Nesmith went on to create some of rock's earliest music videos, which earned him a Grammy. The musician's family says he passed away at his home in California of natural causes. Downtown Windsor isn't the scene it was a decade ago, but the memories of the Loop, Honest Lawyer, even Voodoo remain. CBC's Stacey Janzer met with a freelance photographer who recently posted some nostalgic photos that showed just how much the downtown core has changed.
All the bars that used to be downtown, there was over 60 bars just in like a 1-block radius. It was unlike anything that you see right now, and it was an experience that you might have taken for granted if you were, of a young adult at that time. Yeah, so Don Cherry's, or the Box Office, that was a bar that was extremely popular for Americans. It was also, there was a lot of rock and pop and dance bars downtown, but this was a hip-hop R&B bar that, was kind of a safe haven. If you like that music, you definitely got that. So a lot of people loved it. There was a lot of experiences there, a lot of positive and negative history, and it was, this street on Polisher was pretty much, it was the bar on Polisher. This is the best building of all of the bars that used to be in Windsor. This is the Loop, Coach and Horse, Pogo, and Fish Market. And that was definitely my home on Saturdays between 2007 and 2014. So it was an alternative bar, specifically the Loop. It was a dance bar that was right upstairs. Downstairs was Coach and Horse, where a lot of hardcore and punk shows were. Pogo's and Fish Market was, they definitely had some bands and things like that, but the Loop is definitely a long staircase that many people had fallen down and fallen up. I think, people are going to have good memories and bad memories, of any area, of their bar times and such. I'm really glad that the photo sharing brought mostly positive memories, people talking about how they met their spouses in the bars. And I really love the fact that I got to bring that to some people, of just some photos that I had on a hard drive. So I'm really glad that this brought some nice nostalgia.
We're almost near the end of our program, but I want to take a moment right now just to remind you about our Sounds of the Season campaign. We do this every year. It's our charity drive, and we accept donations through our website. Just go to cbc.ca/Windsor and look for that Sounds of the Season banner. Every dollar counts, and all of those donations go towards local food banks, and we know that there's so many people who need your support right now. Now, before we go, we also want to leave you with something beautiful. So let's take a look at some of the gorgeous window displays that you may have noticed scattered throughout our city. They're being described as holiday cards. Carlene Peach and Julia Hall, they are the artists behind them, and they've decorated 20 storefront windows. And this is done in partnership between the Downtown Windsor BIA, the province, and Tourism Windsor Essex. And it's a way to brighten the streets and lean into the beauty of the holidays. That's all from all of us. Have a wonderful weekend.